y'all? It's your girl, Lizzie P, and welcome back to Traveling While Mixed, where we're traveling and things are all mixed up, but a whole lot of fun. And today I want to talk about my experience in Rome, Italy. Rome disappointed me greatly. Italy disappointed me greatly. And I will say, if you're watching this on YouTube, um, it is so I'm so pale right now. I should probably put pictures in of me as a child and show y'all that I actually have some melanin, but I have been indoors since COVID a lot, and it's just the melanin's not giving what it can give. It's not giving what it used to give. But still in Italy, I was black. Like I was actually black to them. If you missed prior episodes, I am black and indigenous. And so I'm not white. But I look maybe Hispanic to some people, some different kind of Latins. I've gotten a lot of different reactions in these European streets in the EU and different countries that I've been in so far. But I will say that my Rome experience is one that I've been waiting to talk about because I wanted to bring all of the facts, feelings, issues, problems. I wanted to leave Rome almost immediately after 2 days of being there. And I've seen other Black people talk about being in Rome and what that looks like or what it feels like. And this is after I was there and started to experience it. So when I got to Rome, I was coming from Greece, which people have asked me, is there any racism in Greece? I did not experience that. I do want to give a disclaimer though that this travel experience right now has been a little strange and different because I usually travel in the United States, even with some of my girls that I mentor or assistants or spiritual daughters. And they're usually darker skinned than me. But this time, my partner in crime, no, we're not doing any crime, but my partner in travel is, her name is Ellie, and she is a palm colored friend. She is Caucasian. She's white. We just say that around here. She's a white person. And she has like light blue grayish eyes. She does have a little bit darker hair, but she's very clearly white. And so in Greece, it was very odd to, as Black people, we usually have this thing where we nod at each other walking down the street or we talk to each other. First of all, there were only like 5 people we saw in Greece that were Black. We started counting because I was like, there's nobody else that looks like me. This is a little uncomfortable. Where are my people? But it's fine. I've been around tons of different races. It just was a different experience. And then being with her, the 5 Black people we saw did not they head to me, and I was a little disappointed because I'm like, I just don't even look like I'm Black right now. I don't have any other Black people with me, and I am pale, and I need some sun, and the sun is not out. So I know that may sound odd to those of you that are not Black, but I'm just telling you, it was a weird feeling. Especially in America when that's just such a thing, right? Most Black people in America, even if they're like, is she not? They say like, what's up, girl? And then I'm like, hey, what's up? And then they could tell because I'm always wearing a lace front or something. So when it got to Rome, there was a lot more Black people, but there still wasn't that many head nods. And I was like, oh, okay. But then, Ellie, she turns to me and she's like, oh, they can tell that you're Black because they were like saying hi and interacting with me and talking about how crazy, people are in the airport. What are these people doing? Just the chit chat that we normally have in our culture. So that was encouraging, and something that I had missed. But as soon as we got to the neighborhood and we do like the very nice Airbnbs experiences, hotels, never really a hostel. We'll get into a future episode where we did an apart hotel, which is like a hostel, and it was different. But our experience, that's how we tailor it, right? And so we get in this neighborhood and people are very not friendly. People are very like aggressive. They look strange. I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's a different country. You have to adjust, right? Like, I think the hardest thing for Americans is going to be the adjustment of understanding why a culture is the way that they are. And that's already a huge thing. But then when you add racism on top of it, y'all, it's very, very, very hard. And I know that Rome is a very popular place to visit right now. But the way that this escalated, Terrible. So it just so happened that someone that I've known online for a very, very, very long time and love his ministry, love him as a person, happened to be in Rome at the same time. Crazy because I came to Rome early and I wasn't supposed to be there until the day that he was leaving, but I came early. So we met up and we had dinner, but my assistant Ellie came with me. And that night it was us, and he's a black man and she's white, right? So we had very quick service. It was very attentive. It was a lovely restaurant. It was no issue, nothing like that. We went to a coffee spot afterwards and everything was great. And so I was just thinking, like, okay, this is the experiences that we've had and some of the other places that we visited. This is what it's going to be like. Dun 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 dun. Shocker and surprise. Absolutely not. Okay. So the next day, me and my friend met up again and we went to a restaurant alone while Ellie had something else to go and do. And we did not get served for a very long time, even though we were seated. We asked for water, we didn't get water. Sometimes in these situations, I'm just like, okay, you want to play? I'll play too. So I'm just sitting there like pretty and dumb. Yes, hi, whatever. And my friend is like, are they not serving us? Like, because we're seeing people get seated after us after 30 minutes. We're still sitting there and it's busy, right? So I was like trying to give the grace of busy, but then I'm noticing that people's actual food is coming out. Hello? Like, so you ordered, you got drinks, you got food, and I'm still sitting here, I haven't ordered anything. So I finally, like, I actually had to get up from the table and say, you have not taken our order. We would like to order. So then we had to order all at once, right? But then I thought it was so strange at the end of the meal. And like, if you're new around here, I have diabetes and I'm also just a very small person. I know I look bigger on camera, but I'm 4'11" in person and I don't eat huge portions. And it was a huge portion of like spaghetti and meatballs. And so the waiter begins to tell my friend that he shouldn't be out with me because I didn't eat all my food. He starts to mock me for not eating my food. And I'm like, I ate my food, like, and then he like forced a takeaway plate for me. That's what they call it in different countries. It's like takeaway, or you're gonna take away instead of like to go. And so I was like, it didn't taste that good to me either. And so I was frustrated because I'm like, the pasta is not what I particularly like, but it's okay. I ate, but he literally like had a problem with me because I didn't eat, but the service was like terrible, terrible, horrific. And for without a shadow of a doubt, because I'm not the person that would complain about this, like we were being treated differently because of the way that we looked, and we did not have my white assistant with me. So that's the last time I got to go out with my friend before he was leaving. But then things continued to kind of snowball. So my assistant and I were walking around, and this man comes up to me and he literally says, "What the fuck are you?" Excuse me? What the fuck am I? I'm a person, right? And so then he's like, um, race. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? This is just on a street that like people are out with their bambinos. Like I'm like, oh, little bambino, I'm enjoying the people, and it's like I'm on the cobblestones. No, what the fuck are you? That's literally like what I got. And people ask me in America all the time, like, what are you? Or wow, like you look like this, like are you this? They hear me talk, they don't know, they can't tell by my outfit. I understand that culture of being mixed, but like this was very aggressive and he wouldn't back off about it. So then now we're having a problem because you don't want to back off. Like what? And then, we were scolded by people that were doing a protest at one point in that same day because they were protesting for what's happening in Iran with all of the women. And, it's like, you don't know what's happening. It was just a very intense environment to be in. So I just didn't enjoy it. And I was really looking forward to it because I had a best friend when I was growing up at church that was his family's Italian. And I think he was Italian and Puerto Rican. And we got along so great. And I just knew so much about Italian culture. And I've always loved different things. So I thought I was really going to enjoy Italy. These are all what people would say maybe are microaggressions. But here's the tea, babes. So my assistant booked for when we were leaving Rome to go to Paris, and this train, and I like to take trains. And so she's like, okay, we can take a train. She booked it while I was asleep. So it's actually not her fault, any of this that happened, but I want you to be aware because it could happen to you. It could have happened to me if I was just going off of the same resources. Very clear about that. The blogs do not always tell you the truth. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I was a blogger for many, many years. And the truth of the matter is that when you have codes for blogging, you're getting paid. Or when you are building experiences and curating things, literally it's a different experience if they are white. Just to be honest, palm colored people do not have the same problems out here in these streets. And sometimes when they do, they just don't tell the truth because they're trying to curate a package and they're trying to have a tourist experience versus I'm living and experiencing different spaces. But this is a generalization of what could happen to you in this place that I had to find out the hard way, that we learned in a very unsafe situation. So the way that you take the train from uh, Rome to Paris is a stop that makes you stop in the middle of the night. There are no other options for that. But the way that it goes, like the train station is closing and there's nobody there. So when that train gets off, you literally have maybe 15 minutes to make it to a subway train, from a bullet train to a subway train to outside a train station to do what? Because the train station also closes. This was not said in any blog. Like people talk about going to lounges, they talk about all these different things, but they do not talk about that this train station closes in the middle of the night. That's not always the case. And I know because I've taken trains and I've navigated it, and it's very clear on most websites when a train is closing. So the Milano train station, it closes and there are police there to kick you out. So we had this horrible experience of getting off the train at the station we got off on and trying to figure out how to exit this part of the train station to get to the Milano train station, the subway to get to the Milano train station, which is where our next train would come. Now, thank God for my assistant thinking ahead. Her and one of the other girls on my team, shout out to Gloria, they booked a hotel for us to stay at that was right, like literally 4 minutes from the train station. If they had not done that, I don't know what would actually have happened to us. But like that whole like waiting and seeing, we're just booking that ahead of time. So they booked that ahead of time when it started to be like, what's actually happening with this train ride? So we leave and we finally get to the main center where this girl is like, let me help you. She's like, let me help you out. And she, it's funny because she kept saying, there's a very big man behind you. I'm like, behind me? No, it's my assistant. She's a very big suitcase. It's heavy. The wheel broke. So, and she's like, I'm like, that's a woman. It's not a man. She's like, no, it's a very big, like very big. I'm like, oh, maybe you've seen an angel or something, baby girl. Because I got angels. And she's like, well, I'm going to help you. And then when she realized what direction I had to go from the map, she was like, okay, be blessed. I have to go this way, but walk very fast, very fast, very fast, very fast, very fast. And she looks at my assistant. She's like, not like her, very fast. I'm like, okay, great. Because I'm thinking, how are we going to very fast with this suitcase situation? And at the same time, a police officer is coming up to me and saying, you have to get out. You have to go. And I'm like, I understand. I'm going to this place. Can you open that door? And he wouldn't open the door that was actually closest to it, that would have let me out, literally right across the street from the hotel. And when I look at the door that he's sending me to, there are men. There are a lot of men. And I told you earlier in this episode, I'm 4'11". I'm very tiny, but what one thing about me is I fight. I know how to fight. And so I just put on like my very mean face, like my most intimidating face of like, you want to F around, you gonna find out. You gonna find out today. I probably cuss more in this episode than I ever will on this, but this is the situation. Okay. So I see that. I see them like they're walking around randomly. It's not actually even homeless people, it's actually just random men. Okay. And I tell my assistant, like, you need to come with me. Background story, she's never traveled anywhere or even been allowed to do anything in life, and so she's very great like in tech and all of these amazing things that she does. But like, I'm like, I just know that this is about to be some stuff, but we can't stay in the train station, so we gotta go. And this hotel is 4 minutes away, so let's walk. And we're walking, and first of all, this most creepy man in my life is looking at me and staring me down, and he's following, right? But my suitcase, it's on those four wheels and it travels, baby. It rolls. It rolls so smoothly. And one guy comes up to me, tries to intimidate me. So I give him like, if you're just listening, like I literally like bounced at him, like, you jump somebody off. And he backed up. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, okay. And then like three men come up to us and they're like, oh, let me help you. Let me help you with the baggage. Let me help you with the luggage. Like, I'll take for you. I take for you. And I'm like, no, no, no. I said no, right? And Ellie's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. No, thank you. Okay, okay. I'm like, Ellie, don't say thank you. No, they're trying to take your luggage. Like, let's go. And so I think once it finally clicked that something bad was happening, and the suitcase is really hard to pull on the cobblestones because everything in Europe is on cobblestones. My God, today she's like, I think we should just order a car, but I can see the hotel sign, right? And so I'm like, I can see the hotel sign. We don't need a car. Where will we wait for the car? And she's like, I can pull up an Uber. I'm like, do not stop walking. Let's go. And so, because they're still surrounding us like in a circle at this point, right? And I'm constantly moving and I'm like going ahead and then I'm kind of coming back like, come on, you got to go. Let's go. Let's go. Cuz I'm like, we just got to get to this hotel. I put all my faith, hope and trust in Jesus. I said, Jesus, you are with me. You have angels surrounding me. We will make it to this hotel. And so, I'm like moving my happy hips and I'm like, you better move your happy hips. Let's go. Right. And so this guy comes up and I knew that it was about to be another level of some ish happening because the other guys were holding their phones to record her. And he's like aggressively trying to take her suitcase. Oh, but it escalates. And she's saying, no, no. And I am like screaming for her to keep walking. But her natural response was to stop. And I'm like, let's go. And he's like, ha 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 ha, and like yelling in Italian. And he kicks her to the ground, like actually gets her on the concrete. So she's like, I'll just leave my bag. Now, mind you, I'm like, oh, no, no, no. They're not getting a bag out of this. They're not getting your whole life in a suitcase. Absolutely not. I'm like, pick up your shit and run. I have to laugh about it today, but I was so upset because I was just like, we run, like we fight and we run, And so I looked at him, and when I started to run back to where she was, then he starts to run. Now, mind you, she's like very tall woman in my world, right? She's not she's a average American white woman that's taller. So I'm like, she's big, okay? To me, she's bigger than me, and I'm not talking about weight size. Like, she's a very nice looking average woman, right? And I am tiny, and you're gonna be scared of me. So I'm like, let's go. We're not leaving anything behind. We're going. They followed us all the way to the hotel, but no one else touched us after that. Unfortunately, she was a little bruised, like, well, a lot bruised. It was very physical, that moment of him kicking her down. I don't know why he didn't go for the bag then. It would have been smarter, but it just didn't turn into what it was. But here's the more scary thing that happened when we got into the hotel. The man that was at the front desk came and helped us, and as we were telling him what happened, because of course we're out of breath, we're scared. I don't cry in the middle of situations, but I definitely cry after them. And so I cried. I was letting tears stream down my face. And we said, well, we got attacked. He's like, did you make it with all your bags? And I was like, yes, I didn't leave any bags behind. That wasn't going to happen. And he was like, wow, I'm shocked. People don't usually make it with all their bags. Hello? Are you serious? What? He was just like, yeah, let me get you some water. No big deal. He's like, it's pay for police over there. So the police are paid and they send you out and then the people rob you or they harm you or they take you as women, they take you. I'm like, excuse me, right? And so this very innocently booked train trip that it wouldn't have seemed like anything could happen turned into us being in a very traumatic situation, especially for my assistant. And we end up in this hotel room and the hotel was safe, right? And they're like, well, you don't have to go back outside, they can't come in, they know that, but we had a connecting train to get to Paris that was at like 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, around there. And we would have had to leave early to be there and get our luggage on and all that kind of stuff. And so we couldn't do that because they were outside still. And then that made it a $800 mistake of booking because then we had to get on flights and we had a call to say, hey, we need money to get on flights. We have an Airbnb booked in the next place, but now these tickets that we bought to get to there, like, we can't do anything about it. Also, the train company refused to refund anything without us physically going to that train station. And so even telling the woman, like, hey, we just got attacked outside this train station, I can't go back in there, it's not safe. Oh, it didn't matter. It was like, well, are you not understanding? So even asking to speak with someone like that has supervisor decision making, or is there a digital way to do this? There was a complete refusal. We were just completely out of the money of that part of our travel plans, and it was horrific. It was horrific. But what was even worse, in talking to people in the midst of it and talking to people in the airport when we had to go an hour out of our way then to take an airplane to Paris, they were like, oh yeah, Milano, it's the worst, it's really bad there, it's on the news every day, and no bloggers talk about it, nobody on YouTube talks about it. And so it's part of the reason I wanted to make this episode, because I want you to be aware. They were telling me that even men get robbed, or like they just jump the men, and it can be really dangerous. People have died at that train station. And I really looked online for the information. And besides one TikToker who was talking about she was Black and she was traveling with her white girlfriends. Her white girlfriend sent her home on a plane. Like, they helped pay for it for her to go early because of all of the racial issues they had in Rome, Italy, and in Milan, Italy. And so, I wanted to let people know my personal experience of what it felt like to be there, what actually happened, and that it is just like, okay, well, this is how it is. And I wish that it wasn't that way, because I really enjoyed the Trevi Fountain, seeing it. Like, it was mind blowing. I can't imagine like the detail. I couldn't have seen that from a picture and got the same experience of seeing it in person. But then being in that spot and people treating you poorly or asking like what the fuck you are, or giving you dirty looks, or asking, oh, this was that day, I left something out. We literally went to a restaurant and we asked, for seats. And she looked at me and she's like, well, you're going to have to wait. And I said, no, no problem. Like, where do I wait? And she told us where to wait. And then when she came and got us, she said, do you understand that we don't have pizza here? And I said, yes, I don't like pizza. I don't want pizza. And then she was like, but you understand, there's no pizza for you. And I said, yes, I understand. And, we were seated. It was a nicer restaurant and it was seafood. And I ordered something that I think they thought was like very expensive on the menu. Um, and like, they were shocked, and she came over and she had a completely different posture for me. It reminded me of the South in America, and when I knew I wasn't supposed to be in certain restaurants. Like, it reminded me of Indiana, when I was told, hey, if someone calls you the N-word or says, why are you here, you don't argue with them because it could be a bad situation. And so that's just how I carried myself in Rome. It's really sad. It's really unfortunate, because the sights are so beautiful and everything, even walking down those cobblestone streets. And I'm not a coffee lover. The coffee was amazing. I had some because I was like, this just smells like it's, wow, beautiful, amazing, wonderful, terrific, right? I'm looking at these ancient places, but then I also have been telling people, like, I get it. I get why biblically Paul was all up in the Romans' butt. Like, because they have issues, babes. Like, the Roman society, it's a problem. And I hope y'all are offended. And I know that you gang up on people online. That's the other thing. Like these TikTokers that are telling the truth about their experience in Rome, your people, you're mad. You're mad. Great. I'm glad you should be mad. And I believe that you should change. And I'm not going to be bullied or intimidated either, because this is what actually happened. People were not kind to me. People were not welcoming. I was trying to pay for a headband and the woman would not let me pay before asking if I had money to pay. And I was saying, yes, I would like to pay. It was not a language barrier. She was looking at my assistant to see if she was going to be the woman paying for things. And I'm like, I'm the one paying. I would like this. Are you sure you can afford? Yes, I'm very sure. It was only a $15 headband. Like, what? I had my card out ready to go. So I'm confused, right? And that happened at a couple places. In some places, I just didn't even purchase anything because, like, why are you questioning if I can purchase when the card is ready to tap, 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 babes? Like, it's just not that hard. It is a problem within the way, like, Black people that travel there are treated. And I haven't really seen much other experiences. If you look more European, if you look a certain kind of Latin, you can kind of fit in. But in restaurants, in retail stores, and I can't really say that what happened outside the train station is racial, but it's definitely dangerous. It's not going to be a pleasant experience, and it may be different if you're traveling with a man, right? And I know because traveling by yourself or traveling with another woman, it can make you more of a target, or it can be something that people are looking for. And so you really have to be vigilant in these streets. And that is my take on Rome. It was really unfortunate. And it's not even because I paid for a cheap Airbnb or anything. Like, we were at some of the most amazing places, dressed appropriately for those places. Like, everything that someone could criticize and pick apart. I didn't even have great green hair then. I literally had natural, just black, regular smegular hair. Wasn't wearing any wild outfits. I was keeping it casual and cute in Rome, to be honest. I was tired. I was too heartbroken. I didn't have time to look that bomb. I just looked presentable, to be honest. So that was it. I also got food poisoning. That was horrific experience, but it's also due to like heat temperatures on food and everything like that. I know exactly the place that it happened at, and it was questionable when I put the bite in my mouth and I took it out after I realized, and it still got me. And I hope to never be there again unless there is a guaranteed security situation for me. And there is an event that I have to go to. And that's probably the worst review of a place I've ever given, which feels terrible now. But if you've been listening and you've been watching on YouTube, I am so grateful for you. You guys' interactions are hilarious. I said that I would maybe put some people in the next episode because I was talking about my favorite episodes, and I mean my favorite airports. I'm so sorry. Got a little tongue tied there. And some of you replied. My favorite airport is definitely Paris. It's definitely Paris, bro. Like, Bon Voyage, it's amazing. Detroit Alanian fan on YouTube said, of course it's going to be Detroit. And I do agree because Detroit is popping. The airport, if you've never been to it, and I know people have stigmas against Detroit, but it is fabulous. It has a tram on the inside. It's a nice little mall area that I love. The Sky Lounge there is terrific. What else? I know that I ate at a restaurant I liked. I don't know which one it was though. Shoot. It was really good. I really appreciated that. I used to have a layover in Detroit from LA to Chicago. So, I was in that airport a lot. I prefer that much more to Denver. I could skip Colorado every time. Detroit me. Okay, and so let's see. Amazing Foxy. Hey girl, hey. She said her number one is Honolulu. What? Okay, so I actually started my travels in Hawaii, but I think we were on the big island. But I went to Honolulu Airport in a million years ago when I was like 20. So I believe that's an indoor one. I do not like the Big Islands Airport because it is outside. And when the volcano is active, people with asthma, as they say out here in Peri, asthmatique, it's a problem. But the Honolulu Airport, I believe, is a really, 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 really beautiful one. Let's see. I know there was one answer somewhere else. I want to say it was Instagram. Someone said that they really loved the Denver airport as well. I will say this about Denver airport. They do have a couple of nice places to eat that are not going to be charging you head to like crazy astronomical amounts. I believe there's a Mexican restaurant there that has a very amazing burrito that I usually go and seek out with a Diablo margarita. I don't hate airports like everybody else. I actually find them fascinating. I like the little art stuff they have in it. The worst airport I've ever been to is Seattle. But thank you for interacting with me. It is amazing. I love you. I love talking about this stuff with you. If you disagree with me, in the balsamic vinegar rant, that's totally fine. I think it's amazing that you love it and I don't like it. I love that for you. If you love it, if you like it, I love it for you. If I hate it, it's okay. It's not a big deal. We're here to talk about our differences and everything's all mixed up, but it's a lot of fun. If you want to follow me, make sure you just follow on YouTube, TikTok, the podcast, and Pinterest. And Pinterest, I'm giving a lot more tips and hacks and all of those things and letting you know different reviews of the things that I've tried and things that I'm buying and experiencing, especially in the EU. Thanks for listening. And let me know if you've been to Rome, if you were thinking about going, if your race would be welcome in Rome, you think. And I'm really interested to see what others have to say. All right, until next time. Toodles.